Hello, thank you for coming. Good morning or afternoon or evening, depending what time zone you're in, because I see we have some members, people from all over the world calling in for this webinar, which is exciting. My name is Heather Potzon. I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm here with my colleague and friend, Johan Soderstrom.
Hello, everyone.
And he's calling in from Stockholm. So we're really excited to be here on this webinar to talk about Windows 10, best practices, and shared experiences that we've had. So to get started, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Heather Potzon. I'm in the Philadelphia office for Specops. I've been working in infrastructure for a little over 16 now, going on 17 years. I went to Drexel University. My hobbies include dancing and traveling. I enjoy Formula One racing, and I'm a mom of 2 kids who are heavily involved in karate. So keep busy.
And don't forget your excellent wine making, Heather.
I know, I did forget that's not on the slide, but yes, I'm also a home winemaker, which recently I'd send a bottle or 2 of my homemade port over to Johan in Stockholm.
Yeah, and I tasted it. I actually went a little drunk. It was strong and sweet. Very
That's
good.
what port is. I told you it would be. I said you got to take your time with that.
Yeah. Orange and chocolate. I can recommend it.
Good, start a side business.
I'm Johan Soderstrom. I have been working for 15 years with deployments, and I have been working many years at Specops as a product specialist. I love travel. I'm, of course, a technology geek and love good food and wine. And why don't you take a little ride on a motorcycle also? That's really nice. I don't have any motorcycle right now, but I like doing it.
Just don't ride on the motorcycle after drinking the wine.
So. Or maybe before.
Yeah, that's the better way to go. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Because I know Windows 10 is such a broad topic, and there's lots of things you can talk about with Windows 10. So we're going to start with just, some things preparing for it if you're going to just do, a migration from whatever operating system that you're having. We're going to talk about applications, Office 2016 versus Office 365, and then the different flavors of Windows 10 OSs, which path to take. And then Johan and I were going to go over our favorite new features that we've been using with it. And then Johan is going to do a nice demo on a procedure he came up with to customize that start menu with Windows 10. Typically, if you've ever attended our webinars in the past, we always save Q&A for the end and do that at the end. Today, we're going to try something new. We'll see how it goes, but we want you to ask your questions along the way. And if we're talking about something and you do have questions at that time, type it in the Q&A box in your webinar, WebEx box in the lower right-hand corner, and we're going to try to address the questions. I don't know if we'll be able to get to everything along the way, but if not, we'll gather them at the end. So anytime you have a question, just type it in, and either we'll get to it on the spot or we'll get to the end. But we love questions, and we do want to make this as interactive as possible. So please participate as much as you like. So let's get started.
Okay, cool.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Excited. So preparing your client machines, because, as time goes on, the hardware changes as we get new OSs and new software. So one big thing to think about is UEFI. Why would you want to use UEFI? Because faster boot and better overall performance. But if you want to use the UEFI, you have to prepare your machines. And sometimes that is BIOS upgrades. So, and Johan, why would you, did you ever find that the BIOS upgrade, because I know some people say, it's one of those things that upgrade the BIOS never works. But with UEFI, do you find that does actually help you use
Absolutely. It's a lot of bugs. And if you do it in an automatic way, I know that HP has a tool called System Software Manager, SSM, that you can actually utilize to actually upgrade your machines. So during the installation, you actually can maintain your BIOS and all your drivers on your machines out there in the environment. So it's a cool way of doing it from a central management point. So that's really fantastic tool that HP got, and it's for free also. So everybody can use it. So it's called, System Software Manager, SMM.
SSM. Free tools are always good to do that. So So that's the first part of like planning the upgrade would be to go make that decision if you're going to do that, and then to prepare with the BIOS upgrade. Other thing that we find in dealing, because with OS and deployment type software, is drivers. Drivers drive me nuts. But with the new operating system, you're going to need a new set of drivers most of the time for your various hardware models. So you need to go to the manufacturers and get those Windows 10 drivers. Sometimes you got to test them out, because even for sometimes a network card could have different flavors of drivers, and it's always not one the same. So make sure you get them out, test them. Other thing to think about, data. How you're going to, if you're doing an upgrade, how you're going to save your data. What are you going to do with that? Sometimes with that, you can use folder redirection or roaming profiles, some automated ways to bring your data back. A good thing, we do have one question about if it's going to be available for streaming or download later. Yes, we are recording this, so you will be able to get it off the website later. So no worries if you missed something here.
Good catch, that Heather.
Yes.
Very good catch.
I know, I'm talking and reading at the same time. So good question to ask, so no fears about that. But folder redirection, one thing is we actually run that internally. And recently, once Windows 10 came out, we're doing some internal testing, and a colleague of mine, he went in my office, he went out for lunch, and I went to upgrade a test machine, and me not checking my computer names before I did it, I ended up upgrading him to Windows 10, so he came back from lunch with a little surprise. Cool thing is we do use folder redirection, so his data was automatically brought back, so when he did sit down after lunch and log into his new Windows 10 machine, he had everything. So it was nice that Johan had that set up internally for us, because I didn't kill my colleague. So you can actually have nice streamlined deployments if you do have these things set up.
Yeah, and make sure you know what you are doing folder redirection on, because I had a colleague actually last week that I told her many times that we back up different folders or using folder redirection for different folders. And that was not included for her pictures and music, but she thought that was included anyway. So we did a reinstallation, and then she came back and one week later and asking about her 2 years old pictures of her family. So that's a bummer. So you need to know what you're going to do folder redirection on. And we don't do pictures and things and music or the download folder, because that takes a lot of space on your servers and also on your backup. So that's why we don't do any folder redirection on that. So make sure you do folder redirection on the correct things.
Yeah, we just had a question too, Ann, about folder redirection. They want to know, does it work better with Windows 10 than it did in Windows 7?
Yes, it does, but it's more or less the same thing. You need to know your Microsoft environment. So of course you need to check everything out before you go through the upgrade phase. Because if you're going to do roaming profiles, you're going to end up with a new profile, because when you log in on a Windows 10 box, it's going to create a new folder for you. A new profile for you. So you need to know a little bit about bits and pieces in the Windows environment, but overall it works great.
Nice, good. And if you're not using folder redirection or roaming profiles, have a plan in place to back up files not covered by that, or if you're not using that, a way to get your files and data, because we all know what it's like to have users who lose their data or pictures and families. So just have plans in place for all that, because that's the difference when you get new deployment versus the upgrade deployments.
Yeah, and if you're unsure, or if it's a very important person, the boss that's gonna tell you how much salary you're gonna have next time you're gonna ask for it, maybe you can back it up on a USB stick also. That's a good plan.
It's just always the best way to go. So, all right, so there's basics to start thinking about when you want to go to the Windows 10 client machines. Let's talk about, I believe, applications we want to discuss next. So as always, and I mean, these are the same types of principles and practices you always went when you're going from Windows 7 to 8, 8.1, or 10. Got to evaluate and see what applications will work with Windows 10 and which ones need a new version. Some applications don't work with Windows 10 at all. Example, Flash, that actually stopped working with Windows 8. So you're not going to use that. If it works with Windows 7, Most likely, it's going to work with Windows 10, but it's not everything will. So before you start doing massive enterprise deployments and pushing things out, you do want to go through and make sure everything is on that new OS before everyone gets it. Also, you got to think about your platform. I know a lot of times people really were sticking to their 32-bit platforms, and now I think that we're in Windows 7 or Windows 10. Johan and I had a conversation about this yesterday or last week about the 64-bit platform is the way to go. Start thinking there, because a lot of people were afraid and want to stay conservative with the 32-bit, but I think 64-bit is going to be the future. Don't you agree, Johan?
Absolutely. I think you need to test. I think your application will work on Windows 10 if it works on Windows 7. If you don't using a 64-bit platform, I think you should try that out and actually use that, because you will utilize that together with UEFI and 64-bit platform. I think it will be a lot quicker on the laptops and desktops when you're using it. So I think that's the way of doing it.
Most definitely. And also, one thing to test, which I know I used to be bad at this until Johan got me in shape, was the testing your uninstalls. Because when you start your application installs, that's easy. But then sometimes you need to uninstall. And if you don't test your uninstall, depending upon how you do your application management, but it's really important, because if there's upgrades and stuff going on and you don't have that uninstall worked out in your application automation, you're going to find trouble later down the line, and it can be different. It's not just, the reverse of the install. So make sure you do that. And then if you do have your new software, create your new packages and always test those packages. Don't, leave it to chance and cross the fingers and make sure it works. Big applications, of course, with every new version of operating system, Microsoft gives a new version of Office. And that's probably the one application that most people use is Office. But now we have choices with Office, not just one version of Office coming down. There's Office 2016, and there's Office 365. So you may use one or both of those. Office 2016, the new version comes out, the new Office Desktop Suite. It supports both Windows and Mac OS 10. So same install does both, which is the first time that Microsoft has done that, to support the Mac OS 10 and Windows in one release. There's improved collaboration, tighter security. It comes with the Microsoft Office customization tool. So if you're doing enterprise deployments and you want to have it customized to push out, you have a way of customizing it for your needs. So not a lot of differences, but some minor differences there to do that. Then there's Office 365. That's your virtual office. Click the Run installation. You have two flavors, actually, of Office 365. You can use the 2013 or the 2016 version. You can't run both Office 365 2016 and Office 2016 together. You can have an older version of Office on a client. So if you want to run Office 2013, then you can use the 2016 version of 365, or reverse. If you have Office 2016 locally, then you can use the 2013 version of Office 365. Not sure why Microsoft did that, but that's how it goes. So it's really important to be aware of that. And then you can also, for Office 365, it's a subscription service for consumers and businesses, where Office 2016 is you buy it, you have it.
And we have actually done a blog about how to actually deploy Office 365 with a Specops Deploy, but a deployment solution anyway. So check out that also in our blog section.
Yeah, and we will send that out after the webinar. The post follow-up emails, we'll make sure you get the link to that. Johan, we have a question coming in. Someone's asking, what is click to run installation?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, it's exactly what it says. You click to run it. So if anyone has bought Office 365 Home or something, you can buy it for the whole family. They actually just log in to the Microsoft Store, to the web page, and actually start the installation, and then it will take about 20 minutes, and it will be installed over the internet. So that's what a click and run installation is. It's actually a virtual version of the Office. So it's very cool.
Nice. All right, and then after Office, I believe we'll talk about the different OS branches. which path to take, because this time for the enterprise, now remember we're talking about for the enterprise, there are 3 versions available. Current branch, you get fast updates. When I say updates, I'm not talking about security patches. We're talking about the Windows feature updates, because obviously security patches, critical security, you're always, no matter what, going to want those updates to come quickly. But feature updates, when they do improvements over time. With the current branch, you get them fast, they come right away. Current branch for business, they're delayed a little bit. So you may not get them when they're released. It may take some time, a few weeks or a month. Long-term servicing branch, slow updates. Sometimes you may not get the updates at all, depending upon what it is. So depends upon your needs and how often you want to stay current to that. You may want, which one to take.
So what do you say, Heather? Do you think what's most common when you gonna upgrade or deploy Windows 10? Is it gonna be the current branch or business or the slow updates?
I would say either current branch for business would probably be the most common one.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that. And we have a couple questions that have come in a few seconds ago, Johan. And one is, about back to Office from the last slide. Does the Microsoft customization tool for deployment create an MSI for use with GPO, or does it deploy within the tool itself?
Are we meaning the Office customization tool?
Yes, for 2016. So does the customization tool create an MSI to use with group policy, or do you deploy the tool itself?
No, what you do with that customization tool, you actually create something called an MSP file. It's an answering file. So you create that MSP file. So you put in your serial number, you accept the EULA, you change whatever you want. That's what's customization all about. And then you save that as a file. That file you just stick into your updates folder in your Office installation branch. And then you can actually just run that with, so you need to have a deployment solution to run that setup.exe, because the setup.exe is silent when you do that. So that's what the Microsoft customization tool is.
Yes, because I think it was, 2-3 versions ago of Office, they went from an MSI back to an EXE.
So it's still an EXE.
It's still an EXE, it's still an EXE, yeah. But it does make it hard for those who do want to use group policy software installation. Because it's an EXE, you can't use that with Office. Exactly. So you have to have another way of deploying it.
Yep.
So, and then we have a question about drivers and how to make it more automatic during post-installation. We had a blog post about that. If we have any blog posts about drivers in OS, it will be Specops related blogs, not generic blogs. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but what we could do is after the webinar, look through and see what we have and send them out if we do have some blog posts internally about driver automation. What we have would be very specific to Specops Deploy, though. I don't know if that's interest or not. And
No, but drivers is universal, Heather. It doesn't matter what deployment solution you're going to use. You always end up having some issues with different model of computers. So driver automation, that's really hot it's always hot when you're going to deploy a machine. So that's why you want a good deployment solution to taking care of that. So all our blogs or all our small tips and tricks is all about MDT that we are building on with Specops OS Deploy.
True. That is true. So we can take a look after the webinar and see if there's any recommended ones related to drivers. We'll have them sent out with the follow-up email, though, to this. That's good. And this is a question we have on the current slide here. Can you use different update branches for different computers in your organization? So Johan, I'd say it's a good point, because I'm not sure of this. I don't know if you know that, if you can have one branch for one part of your organization or another, or is it across the board that you choose what branch to use?
No, you can mix if you want to.
You can
So
now. Okay.
yeah, absolutely. This is all about how Microsoft thinks about this. So I would assume most of people will go with current branch. Either is just current branch or current branch for business. But the long-term servicing branch is also the same. The thing is, sometimes you have computers that you don't want to touch. Very important computers that you don't want to have patches that gonna destroy something in your environment with that computer. So instead of risk that with have this new way of adding features because we're not going to end up with having Windows 11. It's going to be Windows 10. So they will patch in all the features. So the long-term servicing branch is more like the Windows 7, how it looked like. It has been the same all the time. So that's why they needed to have Windows 8 when that came out with the SMB 3 and the new direct access and all that that you had in Windows 8. So Windows 7 and long-term servicing branch is more like each other. It's stable, and so the patching part is about that. So absolutely, you can have a mixed environment, no problem at all.
All right, great question though. Thanks for asking that, and keep those questions coming in if you have them. All right, let's get to some fun stuff now.
Next slide, maybe.
Yeah, more fun stuff here. Some new features in Windows 10, and we picked a few things here that we thought that we liked, the best things. Though I did list Cortana first. I don't necessarily think that's one of the best features, but I guess Siri needs to have a friend, and Microsoft wanted to keep up to date with that. So they added that to the client platform. I think she came in from Halo or something of the sorts. I personally find it's a little weird to talk to my computer. I feel like there's
same here.
spying on me. I want to be like, get out of my computer so I don't use it. But the idea is I think they want to make it that Cortana gets to know you and can predict what you want, and if you want to talk to your computer and do something like that. Though I guess Johan hasn't had the chance to play with Cortana yet because he's in Sweden, and it's only available in the U.S. at the time. But maybe down the line it will become more universal. So. But I guess Windows is trying to compete with Apple and, moving forward in that direction. And Google. So does Google have a name for their voice recognition?
I don't know.
Yeah. They don't have a nifty name and a cool, scary picture there. So, but anyway, so that's one of the big things. And that was a lot of talk when Windows 10 was coming out, especially in the preview releases. Other things is your own taskbar and notifications on multi-monitors. So I'm a single monitor girl, but I know especially here our developers like to have 2 and 3 monitors galore that would be surrounded by a command center. So everyone they go to, they can get a different taskbar for each monitor and notification. So it definitely makes ease of use there a little bit more. And then the next thing is also virtual desktops, which Johan's going to show us that you can have more than one desktop. So if you want to keep your work things on one desktop, your games on another, so then your boss comes back, you can switch to your work desktop. You can have multiple there. So you can see he has his desktop here with our presentation. Then he can go into another one that's blank. So if you want to separate out your applications, depend upon what you're using, it allows you for that. Again, I'm old school. I like it simple, but I think sometimes, high computing users who have a lot going on at one time, it does make organization easy. Cool thing I love, and Johan's going to pull this up, is the changes in the command prompts. I want to show us this.
So what do you want to see, Heather?
Well, I want to see the 2 things, the copy and paste, which I've been waiting for, I think, a decade for copy and paste into a command prompt. Yeah. And then we could show the fade out.
So I'm gonna, as you can see, I'm gonna copy this, and I can actually right-click as I always have done, or paste it with Control V. For us technician, I think that's awesome. Finally, they understood what we need in the command prompt.
Yes.
And also, I don't know how cool this is, but you can change the opacity here. So you can, as you can see here, I can actually I can read. If I need to say Cortana here, I can actually read through my command prompt here.
Okay.
So that's cool. Pretty cool. Hard for you guys to see it, but.
But how many times do you need to type something into command prompt and you're going back and forth to maybe like a Word document or a website? And it always, if you can't put your screen side by side, which in Windows 10, it does make it easier to just kind of snap your screens into place if you want to have side by side or 4 quadrants. But not all the time is that doable. So if you can save your command prompt and you can see and type at the same time, I found that to be cool. That's one of my favorite new features that we have going on here. And going through that, we do have a comment that the PowerShell prompt has always had Control-C and Control-V. That's very true. Yeah. The PowerShell prompt has, but your normal command prompt hadn't. So, but good observation.
The PowerShell is a modern command prompt, so that's why. The modern
command prompt. But
we haven't actually put this on the new features header, but it's also, you can actually put it up multiple windows, so you can use Windows and your arrows keyboard on your keyboards, and actually had more windows on the same screen. That's also a very good feature, but that's more of a user-friendly feature, not that technical feature.
True, that is, but I mean, sometimes parts of the new OS is the usability and the user-friendly features too.
Yep.
So I think they're all important here. So one thing I've learned since Christmas, my kids have gotten an Xbox One, so I've been integrated into the world of gaming because I'm still back at the N64 days. So with the Xbox integration, I cannot believe how amazing it is, the seamless transition with Windows 10 on the Xbox, and I can come here and with my Xbox Live account, I can use the Xbox app that Microsoft gives you and log into some of my gaming things and then go back in there. So I can go in here and download my free Xbox Live games that I get, and then I turn on the Xbox at home. It all comes down. So I think they're trying to make Windows very universal, more, from business to your phone to your Xbox to whatever else the devices you have. But this is the first OS that's come. And normally I would not have cared about it, but I told these kids of mine I'm trying to relate to preteens, and new horizons for me in that in that domain. So I can see that it's nice that it does flow in with the new OS, so I can appreciate the integration there with that. And then the other new big thing is the Edge browser. So they decided, IE is going to be phased out, and now there's Edge for browser. And also we've learned that I think IE 10 and earlier are no longer available to support it. So now, no matter what OS you're on, if you want IE, you need to have IE 11 if you do want to get the security patches and use those.
Correct. Yep.
So that was one of the other cool new features. I know we didn't talk about it yet. Everyone seemed, though, when Windows 10 came out, which me and Johan kind of got tired of the topic, this is a new feature, was the Start menu. But now we're going to talk about it. So I know we didn't list it in the top new features here, but the Start menu, yes, it is a big change, and it's back. But one thing that we had notice, if you want to go to the next slide, Johan, is it comes with a lot of junk, as you see in the top picture on the slide. And we don't like a lot of junk because it's just, Microsoft there in the Microsoft Store. So Johan actually came up with a way, and he's going to give us a great demonstration on how you can customize your Start menu, make it clean, look like in the bottom window, and then you can actually add the things you're going to use instead of having a bunch of stuff you really don't need. So Johan, take it away.
Are you ready, Heather?
I am ready.
I'm
sure everyone's been waiting for this.
This is also in a blog, so actually everybody can actually see this, how to do this. So all you have to do here is actually go to Windows 10 box. You need to customize your Start menu as you want to. In my example here, I have just the File Explorer and Notepad. When I satisfied, this is my new clean corporate Start menu. Also, as you can see here, I can write in whatever name I want here in the group here on top also. So then I need to do something called export Start layout. So just do that in open up a command prompt as an administrator and run PowerShell. and then you can utilize this. So it's very simple. So I will run this command now. Now I have created a XML file. So as you can see here, here is my layout modification XML file. So everybody can see that here is the group name. It's called Specops. And on these two lines, you can actually see the Windows Explorer and Notepad. Okay, so that's the first step. You customize your own start menu. Copy that to your server. In this case, I'm going to copy that to my Specops Deploy server that is using MDT in a button. So if you're using MDT, you can utilize everything I have shown here. So that's the first step. The next step is actually to go to the server. And as you can see here, I have actually copied this to a folder structure. So where did that go? It's very long, but it's in the scripts folder for you guys who have run anything in MDT. So you can utilize this. So I have created a MISC start layout Windows 10 folder in that script folder. Okay, so there you have your layout modification.xml file, and inside that folder also I have created a PS PowerShell script that actually gonna copy that layout modification XML to the temp folder in Windows. Okay, so it's basically clean. Just copy that layout modification XML to Windows temp. And then we're going to reverse that export with an import. Then we're going to import that start layout from C Windows temp layout modification XML to the system drive. That's meaning when you are using MDT, you can actually go into a task sequence to utilize that PowerShell. So I'm going to go to a task sequence on my deployment solution. And I know it's very, very hard to see, but under tattoo, I have a couple of things. One of them is start layout. So all you have to do here is actually add general run PowerShell script. So instead of retype everything, so I can explain for everyone. So it's a variable called %script_% /misc /start layout /Windows 10, and then the name of the PowerShell script was start layout.ps1. So that's all you have to do. Publish that, deploy. That means when you are log in as a domain user on that new machine, that new user will have that start menu layout like this. So it will not be on already created profiles on that machine. If you have created that, it's going to be on new profiles. So it's a very cool way of, clean up your environment when you're planning your Windows 10 deployments.
Very nice. I like having a clean start menu first.
Yeah, you can find what you want if it's not cluttered. Yeah.
Much easier, so thank you. So now it's time for Q&A. If there's any more questions that we haven't gotten to or you have anything else to ask, please type them in and ask away. We'd like questions. And while you're doing your demo there, Johan, we did have one come in about customizing the start menu.
Yes.
Marcus had asked that in Windows 8.1, there was a problem with customizing the start menu for all users. When it was done and then deployed, the users could not add or remove any icons. Has that been changed in Windows 10?
Do you referring to customize that with a group policy? That's still correct. If you're going to use there is group policies that actually, then you hard code to your users. This is how your start menu should look like. And with all group policies, you actually gray out all the settings for users. So if you add favorite or do anything with your browser or anything with group policies, that's going to end up having you as a user, you're not going to be able to change that. So it's all grayed out. So if you're going to use that thing, what I think you're referring to, then it will be the same in Windows 10. You have a group policy that can customize the start menu, but this is a better way of doing it. Then you just customize it for the first time. When you log in as on a new computer with your username, you will have your customized with the file explorer and the notepad, and then you can add and tweak whatever you want to do with it. So the group policy is good, but it's bad in a user experience because you lock out the users from the start menu. So go with this instead. It's a clean way of doing it, and it's going to work well for you.
So, thank you. I'm going to just give it one more minute to see if anyone has any questions they want to ask about any of this, but I think we had a lot of good questions as we went through this. So if you want Johan to go through the resources slide, why don't we put that up so people can see some of the resources we've used?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's some of the ones here, and we will email them out to get that, and along with any other blogs we think might be relevant that you guys will get. Few people do say they aren't able to hear no sound, so remember this will be posted afterwards if you want to go back and review. So I'm sorry for those who have not had a hard time getting the sound come in. One question here we just did get, Johan, if you see, in a nutshell, how does Specops Deploy compare with the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit?
In a nutshell, it's called zero touch. So the big difference between Specops deployment solution and a clean Microsoft solution is that we tend to help a user you don't have to be a very, very good deployment expert to do this. So it's a zero touch. You don't have to add anything. It will be joined after when you have what we call the pre-stage, or if you're going to reinstall a machine, it will be rejoined to the domain, and you can start working. After it has joined, you can log in as a user with a domain user again to it. So nutshell, zero touch, simplicity.
Yeah, and an easy GUI interface that's easy to use.
Yeah, it takes 2 days with the help from us to set up a complete OS and app deployment solution, including a couple of machines and a handful of applications. And that's not the installation that will take time. It's how to learn how to deal with group policies, because we are heavily depending on group policies with our solution.
So, all right.
Was that
yeah.
good?
No, I think that's good. I think you just did it good in a nutshell. That's a very good description of it, how I would describe it. So. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you coming. Johan and I always have fun doing these together and talking about deployments. So hopefully, sorry, I was about to end. We have one more quick question that came in before we do end. If we upgrade our environment to support Windows 10 deployment, is it still possible to deploy Windows 7 or Windows 8.1?
You and me? You or me? You want to answer that?
Sure, I can answer that. Yes, it is possible.
Yes.
Is that how you would answer it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I'd answer that. So yes, you can have a mixed environment and support both of them. So anyway, thanks again, and look for that email with those resource links coming out. And thank you, as always, Johan, for being my partner on this.
Thank you, Heather, and I really enjoyed your wine.
All right, you got to drink the next bottle now, so I'm glad you liked it.
I will.
Have a good day and evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.